Hey everyone! Today, we are cracking the code on how to land your very first job in what is, let's be honest, the red-hot field of AI engineering. So, does this sound familiar? You're scrolling through job postings and every single entry-level AI job wants like 3 to 5 years of experience. You're sitting there thinking, how am I supposed to get the experience if I can't get the job? It's that classic, super frustrating loop. But don't worry, we are going to break that loop today. So, here's our plan. This is the roadmap that's going to take you from just aspiring to actually getting hired. First, we'll nail down what the role even is. Then we'll map out the exact skills you need. We'll look at the best ways to learn them, how to build a portfolio that really stands out, and I'll even share a killer job hunting hack. And to wrap it all up, we'll look at a realistic timeline for your career. All right, let's dive right into section 1, the AI engineer paradox. First things first, what does an AI engineer actually do? And why is everyone talking about this role? Okay, this is probably the most important thing to get straight. An AI engineer is not a research scientist locked in a lab trying to invent the next big AI model from scratch. Nope. Think of them more like a specialized kind of software engineer. They take these huge, powerful, pre-trained models, like GPT-4, GPT-5, Llama, and they build real applications on top of them. They're the builders, the architects, not the inventors of the raw materials. And why is this role so in demand? Well, just look at the numbers. We're talking average salaries in the US sitting somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 a year. That's because companies are desperate for people who can take all this amazing raw AI power and actually turn it into something useful, a real product. That skill is incredibly valuable right now. Okay, so you're sold on the role. Now, what do you actually need to learn? Let's get into your AI skill roadmap. To make it less overwhelming, we've broken it down into 3 simple tiers. Tier 1 is all about the foundation. These are the absolute 100% non-negotiables. You gotta have strong, production-level Python. And I mean clean, solid code, not the kind of messy stuff you'd write in a one-off experiment. And then you need the bread and butter of software development, knowing your way around Git and the command line, and really understanding how APIs work, how different pieces of software talk to each other. Now for Tier 2. This is where the real AI fun begins. This is all about the core skills you'll use every day. We're talking about using AI APIs from places like OpenAI, getting really good at prompt engineering, and building what are called RAG applications. Now, RAG sounds fancy. It stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's like giving an AI an open book test. You give it a specific set of documents and say, hey, answer the user's question, but only use the information in these documents. It's how you connect these giant models to your own private data. And of course, you have to know how to actually get your app out into the world using things like Docker and a cloud service like AWS. And finally, Tier 3. This is the stuff that takes you from a good candidate to a great one. This is where you level up. We're talking advanced RAG techniques, learning how to fine-tune models to specialize them for certain tasks, and, really importantly, making smart calls on which model to use, balancing the trade-offs between cost and performance. And you absolutely have to understand the ethics, security, and privacy side of things. Companies are taking this incredibly seriously. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That is a lot of stuff to learn. So what's the best way to do it? Let's break down the 4 most common learning paths you can take. So you've got a few options here. You can go the self-study route. It's by far the cheapest and most flexible, but man, you have to be super self-disciplined. Then you've got boot camps. They're great if you need that structure and accountability, especially if you're pivoting from another career. A master's degree, well, it can definitely open doors at the big FANG companies, but you're looking at a huge investment in both time and money. And a PhD, honestly, for this specific job, it's just not necessary. It's overkill. So what's the bottom line? For most people out there, the most efficient path is going to be a technical bachelor's degree, say in computer science, paired with either some really intense self-study or a very targeted AI bootcamp. That combo is your fastest track to getting the skills you need. All right, so learning the skills is one thing, but you have to prove you have them, and that's where your portfolio comes in. This is maybe the most important part, so let's talk about how to build projects that will actually get you a job. Okay, let's look at the huge difference between an average portfolio and a standout one. On one side, you have what basically everyone does. They follow a tutorial, use a perfectly clean, prepackaged dataset, and end up with a simple script. On the other side, you have what actually gets you hired. That means finding a unique, real-world problem, going out and getting your own messy data, and building a complete end-to-end application that's actually deployed somewhere. That's what shows an employer you can handle a real job. So here's the playbook, the 5 steps to a killer project. Step 1, pick something you're actually excited about. It'll keep you motivated. Step 2, find your own data. Scrape a website, use a weird API. Just don't use the same old data set everyone else does. Step 3, build the whole thing. The user interface, the backend, the whole shebang, not just a model. Step 4, your GitHub README should be amazing. Document everything clearly, maybe even add a demo video. And step 5, and this is so important, you have to share it. Write a blog post about it, post it on LinkedIn, get people to see what you've built. Okay, you've got the skills, you've got an amazing portfolio. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, hacking the job hunt. Because trust me, just spamming the apply button is not the way to go. First up, a few quick wins for your resume and LinkedIn profile. Move your skills section right to the very top. Make your project section huge and easy to find. And your headline, please do not use the word aspiring. You are an AI engineer building applications with large language models. You gotta own it. Project that confidence. But let's be real for a second. Even with the world's best resume, there's a problem. These automated resume screeners, they're programmed to look for formal job experience. If you don't have that, there's a good chance your application gets tossed into the digital trash can before a human ever even sees it. So, that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you get past the robots? How do you actually get your amazing portfolio in front of a real hiring manager who can see what you're capable of? And here it is. This is the secret weapon, strategic cold outreach. Now, I don't mean spamming people asking for a job. I mean finding engineers or managers at companies you love and then doing your homework. Read their blog posts, watch their conference talks. Then you send them a personalized message. Start by genuinely complimenting their work. And then, this is key, ask a smart, detailed question about it. The goal is not to ask for a job. The goal is to start a real conversation. You build the relationship before you ever ask for anything. All right, for our last section, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. It's so important to set realistic expectations here because this career path, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So this timeline is a really good guide. You should plan for about 6 months just to get comfortable with the basics and build your first few apps. Within 1 to 2 years, you can probably hit what I'd call professional competence, where you're really effective. From there, it's about specializing and deepening your skills over the next few years to eventually become a senior or lead engineer. We're talking a 5-year-plus journey to really reach the top of the field. And this really is the key. The folks who think they're going to become an expert in 3 months, they almost always burn out. The people who actually make it, the ones who succeed in the long run, are the ones who set realistic goals. They embrace the fact that this is complex stuff, and they just focus on making a little bit of progress every single day. So there you have it. That's the roadmap. The path is clear, but it's not going to be easy. It takes real dedication. Your journey to becoming an AI engineer really does start today. And it starts with one simple, exciting question. What are you going to build first?